gentlemen, welcome back to Brick King Pro in Cardiff. I'm Aaron Nix, and the mood has shifted because on his way to the ring is one of potentially the most devastating forces in all of British professional wrestling today. 6'7", 265 pounds of pure wanton destruction. Mulligan, in the shape of a lifetime, is on his way to what he considers a battleground, and he's going to need every single last bit of that nasty demeanor because his opponent is a true bona fide world-class superstar in British professional wrestling. We don't do things by half here at Brick King Pro. Walkabout in Cardiff, the mentality of Mulligan certainly seems to have caught quite a few of the loyal Brick King Pro patrons unaware, and look at the absolute size of this man, an absolute specimen, a truly devastating, and yeah, even a weapon of that nature might very well be difficult to use against someone the likes of Mulligan, who I very much liken to a weapon of mass destruction. The absolute size of this man, stepping over the top rope in a professional wrestling ring. An absolute behemoth of our sport.
And introducing his opponent.
Well, his opponent certainly is no slouch in terms of the power and size game, but very much considered to be, in many people's estimation, the perfect hybrid athlete, the perfect hybrid professional wrestler. Well, the music plays, the energy is set, and the walkabout in Cardiff is about to come unhinged for one of the true icons of British professional wrestling. Worth every pound is this man, not just a moniker. This is very much a lifestyle, a statement of intent, and nobody is worth more in their currency than this man himself, Charlie Sterling. Charlie Sterling, of course, extremely popular with the Brick King faithful, and what's not to like? Outrageously talented, outrageously good looking, a true specimen in his own right. He's going to have it all to do though against 6'7" of Mulligan. Charlie Sterling, who's used to being arguably one of the bigger men in a matchup, but when Mulligan is concerned, all the rule books are thrown into the fire. Because nobody in this business matches up to the size and power of someone the likes of Mulligan. Charlie Sterling didn't get this far in the business. He soaks in the adoration of Cardiff. Bristol's favourite son, Charlie Sterling, on his way to the ring for a mammoth obstacle. Referee Drew Robertson looking to create some separation before the match starts. Charlie Sterling making his debut here at Brick King Pro this afternoon. It's over to the magnificent Giovanni for the introductions.
Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, from Cardiff and standing at 6'7" tall and weighing in at 265 pounds. This is Mulligan. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, from Bristol, England, weighing in at 235 pounds. He's worth every pound, Charlie Sterling.
Charlie Sterling, definitely worth every pound. It's going to have to be worth every pound, whether you're talking about currency or weight, because he is up against an absolute mammoth of our sport. Referee Drew Robinson's going to have his hands full, as always, trying to separate these two behemoths of our sport. But man, there is nothing quite like Mulligan in our sport, and is absolutely worth mentioning. Look at the shape he is in. The last time I saw Mulligan, he was in incredible shape. He seems to have got even more jacked, if that's possible. And look at it now, you see the size difference. Charlie Sterling, by the way, is no short man. The very best part of 6'4". And Mulligan casts a shadow like no other in British professional wrestling. The walkabout here in Cardiff for Brick King Pro ran to the rafters, ladies and gentlemen, in anticipation of what should be a very impressive singles contest. Well, Charlie Sterling never lacking for confidence, never lacking for the fight, and as you can see, Charlie Sterling is in the condition of a lifetime. I know Charlie's been putting in a lot of work alongside the legendary Yeston Reese to get himself in world-class shape for this matchup, and now already you can see the power on display. Mulligan taking a great deal of delight in backing Charlie Sterling into the corner. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you see, and no doubt you will, don't forget Brick King Pro returns to the walkabout in Cardiff on the 30th of November, ladies and gentlemen. Tickets are available at BritishKingdomPro.com. Also check out Brick King Pro, of course, on social media to see all of the action, all of the stunning photography from Emma Meeks, one of the true greats of British professional wrestling photography at ringside here. Referee Drew Robinson asking for a break, and he gets one. And I think Mulligan is feeling extremely confident. And why wouldn't you be at 6'7"? If I was 6'7", I'd be extremely confident about getting into a fight with any number of people in the British wrestling scene. But Charlie Sterling truly is every bit the superstar that you would expect him to be, and every bit the superstar that he looks. Headlock applied, and a shoulder tackle from Mulligan just crashes into Charlie Sterling, walking into a Mack truck. Mulligan looking extremely confident, and rightfully so, after knocking Charlie Sterling down with relative ease. Charlie Sterling, like I said, a big man, a physical specimen in his own right. And Mulligan, with one shoulder tackle, just sent him crashing to the floor. Following elbow tie-up once again, and I think that's going to get it done, really. Headlock applied once again by Mulligan. Charlie Sterling looking to back him into the ropes. Sends him off the ropes, looking to trip up the big man as he comes in and gets caught once again. And it looks like we're going to have to reschedule that plan. And as the legendary Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I would argue a shoulder tackle from Mulligan is just as devastating as a punch in the mouth from any powerhouse with any kind of disposition in British professional wrestling. And Charlie Sterling looking to garner a little bit of energy, trying to feed off of this jam-packed audience here in the walkabout in Cardiff. Sizing up the big man once again, and again Mulligan very smart, going back to that headlock, using all of that frame, 265 pounds, 6'7", just leaning on the body of Charlie Sterling, making it much more difficult to breathe, much harder to position yourself. Professional wrestling is all about positioning, it's all about footwork, it's all about control, and Mulligan is looking to take away all of those skills from Charlie Sterling. None better as he looks to trip up the big man once again. Sidesteps Mulligan, coming in, ducks the clothesline, comes off the ropes himself, and now, well, just crashes into Mulligan again, and once again, the beast from Cardiff, nothing doing, not moving. Shoulder tackle attempt, still nothing doing from this giant redwood of a man. Charlie Sterling builds up head of steam, ducks the clothesline, ducks the back elbow. Big head of steam, shoulder tackle, sends Mulligan back, but still he's on his feet. Mulligan builds up head of steam. This is the clothesline attempt, and Charlie Sterling is going to have to use every bit of his agility here as he pulls the top rope down, and Mulligan is furious at the fact that Charlie Sterling has finally got the better of him, at least for now. It's worth pointing out, even though Charlie Sterling was able to send Mulligan to the outside, Mulligan's still on his feet, still to taste the canvas. Think about just how much power it takes to withstand a ferocious entity like Charlie Sterling crashing into you. And Sterling looking to control his portion of the professional wrestling ring. Referee Drew Robinson admonishing Mulligan, but once again allowing him to get back in the ring. And now Mulligan I believe, looking for a test of strength here against Charlie Sterling. And Charlie Sterling, rightfully, ever so slightly trepidatious, been looking to lock up with a man the size of Mulligan. And there we go. There's the power on display. Locks up the hands and drives his body across Charlie Sterling. Uses all of that weight and power to bring Charlie Sterling to his knees. And Sterling looking to fight from underneath, showing a lot of heart, a lot of desire. And Mulligan once again just pressuring down on him. Really get a feel for the size of him. For anyone who's been anywhere near someone like Charlie Sterling, you'll realise just how big a man he is. And Mulligan is just towering over him. There aren't many true giants in our sport, but Mulligan certainly fits that description. But how about Charlie Sterling here with knuckle locks applied, truly forcing Mulligan back down to one knee. And Mulligan once again roaring back, and a headbutt to the shoulder. Very smart, creates some separation in the European uppercut that could be heard in Newport. And a headbutt applied to Charlie Sterling. That ain't no regular skull cracking off the dome of Charlie Sterling. Back elbow as well. And this is what Mulligan likes to do. Slowly but surely wear down his opponents. Goes up a head of steam. I think he was looking at a crash into Charlie Sterling in the corner. Sterling able to escape out the back door. This is what he's got to do. He's got to use speed. He's got to use agility, athleticism to his advantage. You'd like to think that Charlie Sterling has that advantage, but Mulligan, again, no slouch as an athlete either. Goes up a head of steam. Beautiful sunset flip attempt, but once again, Mulligan, well, nobody was home. Mulligan was looking to drop a big old backside on the skull of Charlie Sterling. Charlie Sterling says he's going to take the big man out, looking for a scoop slam. Nothing doing, I'm afraid. Maybe just a little bit too much. And now Mulligan just picks up Charlie Sterling relative ease, escapes out the back door. Clothesline takes Mulligan right over the top, lands on his feet again. And this absolute monster is absolutely, it's just beggars belief. And now Charlie Sterling slingshots himself to the outside and crashes. Oh man, didn't get all of it, let's be honest. The legs collided though with Mulligan, enough to take the big man off of his game, at least for a moment. Now Charlie Sterling decides that maybe a street fight is what this match needs, as he takes it to the outside and is looking to tee off on Mulligan. Not sure whether that's going to pay dividends with a man of his size, as Mulligan just counters and sends Charlie Sterling's face right off the hardest part of the ring. But Mulligan rather smartly breaking the count. Referee Drew Robinson was getting close to a 10 count. Ain't nobody better in the game than Drew Robinson. And Mulligan asking for silence, looking for a knife edge chop, and Charlie Sterling smartly able to evade that offense. And Mulligan found nothing but a solid iron post, and now just teeing off is Charlie Sterling on Mulligan. I think Mulligan's backing up a little bit. Charlie Sterling is really putting some salt and pepper on those shots to the chest of Mulligan. Now Charlie Sterling offering up Mulligan, asking some of these young people to take a cheap shot at Mulligan, and honestly, I'd rather not get a cheap shot in on Mulligan. God knows what he'd do to a fan if he had the opportunity, but credit to Charlie Sterling. He seems to have taken Mulligan off his game. Maybe Mulligan wasn't expecting Charlie Sterling to take this to the outside, to make this more of a dirty fight. And Charlie Sterling, now, on the apron. Took a long time, looking to build a head of steam off of the audience. Maybe a little bit too much time hot dog in a grandstand, and Mulligan taking full advantage now and just raining down blows. Nothing fancy about this offense, just drilling that closed fist into the skull. And referee Drew Robinson looking to admonish Mulligan, but getting backed up. I mean, Drew Robinson, one of the best in the game, but when someone like Mulligan stares you in the face, you're going to back up real quick. Mulligan looking to take full control of this matchup, just teeing off on Charlie Sterling's skull. If you're expecting fancy technical offense from Mulligan, you're in the wrong place. He's going to look to dismantle people, and why not? Arms that could be registered as offensive weapons, and Charlie Sterling able to escape out the back door, and now swinging for the fences on the chin, and now get up to the second rope, looking to bury some fists into the dome of Mulligan. It's all about trying to wear down the big man enough and maybe, just maybe Charlie Sterling might be able to hit something truly special and knock off the big man, but it's going to take some doing. And now Charlie Sterling looking to build up head of steam. Hot dog in the grandstanding again, taking a long time, but able to get one big meaty haymaker right into the dome of Mulligan. And Charlie Sterling, to his credit, seems to be in the ascendancy. Once again, asking the crowd here in Cardiff, what's next? Ducks the clothesline, ducks the back elbow once again, and Sterling with a big head of steam finally knocks down the big man with a beautiful flying clothesline, 2 count only. And I think Mulligan is a little bit off his game. Think about how much it has taken, as we are now already in deep waters in this singles contest. And that is the first time that Charlie Sterling has been able to take Mulligan down to the canvas. It's a huge clothesline, and I guess the old adage of the bigger they are, the harder they fall certainly rings true here in the walkabout in Cardiff. And Charlie Sterling looking to make a good impression in his debut here for Brit King Pro, but Mulligan puts the brakes on, and my God, that big old ham hawk, that monstrous big boot, and almost garnered a 3 count off of just one single big boot. And now Mulligan roaring at our official Drew Robinson, felt that the big boot was enough to put away Charlie Sterling, and that's why Charlie Sterling has the reputation he does, because he's able to absorb an abnormal amount of punishment that most men would have succumbed to by now. I can guarantee you, if I was in the ring with Mulligan, this wouldn't have lasted 30 seconds. And now, humongous Irish whip, and the whiplash effect as Sterling's spine collided with the turnbuckles in the corner. Well, Brit King Pro is being treated to a real masterclass in super heavyweight professional wrestling, courtesy of the Cardiff Kaiju that is Mulligan, and now just stuffing that monstrous sized boot into the throat of Charlie Sterling. Referee Drew Robinson admonishing him, of course. He's got a 5 count to break. If he reaches that, Drew Robinson will be well within his rights to disqualify Mulligan. Dare I say, that wouldn't probably work out well for Drew Robinson. Now Mulligan with a head of steam, gets caught coming in, maybe took a little bit too long, and Sterling got the boot up, gets up to the second rope. Charlie Sterling, beautiful leapfrog over the top, rolls through, springboard crossbody, wipes out the big man once again. He's got him in a pinning combination, and Mulligan just able to escape, and Charlie Sterling just exploded out of the corner with astonishing athleticism. So now looking for that scoop slam. Oh no, the bottom fell out. The power, the weight was too much, in a 2 count only. And Charlie Sterling, an impressive feat just to get the big man off of his feet at all, but unfortunately for him, it was just a little bit too much beef, and it came crashing down across the chest of Charlie Sterling. And now Mulligan with an iron claw technique, using all of that raw power, looking to wear down the collarbones of Charlie Sterling. That ionic plate grip. Of course, there are pressure points all around the areas that Mulligan is squeezing, and that will cause so much pain to the neck, the head, the spine, and now a headlock. I think Mulligan noticed that Charlie Sterling was somehow still fighting out and decides to just ground him right here. And it doesn't matter how good an athlete you are, it doesn't matter how good you are in the skies, if someone the likes of Mulligan, a huge aerial artillery cannon, if he grounds you, there is nothing you can do about that. And it's a rear chinlock applied. Mulligan looking to just wear down Charlie Sterling once again. Charlie Sterling looking to some of the younger members of our audience, trying to feed off the energy. Some of the all-time greats of this business have been able to take so much energy, so much heart, so much passion from our incredible audience. And obviously the Brit King Pro faithful are as good as anybody in the game. Some of the best British professional wrestling fans you could ask for. And Charlie Sterling trying to use every bit of that energy to mount some offense here against this absolute behemoth of a man. Short arm clothesline by Sterling to Mulligan, and one again, and Mulligan looks a little bit groggy on his feet. No doubt Mulligan getting into deep waters here. Super kick by Charlie Sterling. That would have knocked out most men. Mulligan still on his feet, and a scoop slam finally takes him down. And a beautiful standing moonsault. There's the high-flying arsenal of Charlie Sterling, and it garners a 2 count. Just barely did Mulligan get his shoulder off the canvas, and I think Charlie Sterling recognises that he may very well be in the ascendancy here, but he's got to stay on Mulligan. He's got to stay on the big man, because if he doesn't, Mulligan is going to find an avenue to hurt Charlie Sterling. Maybe looking for that RKO finish that he covered so well, and a standing enziguri out of the corner sweeps out Mulligan's legs, and wow, beautiful springboard moonsault from the second rope, pinning combination, and Mulligan somehow is still able to get his shoulder off the canvas. And I can guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, if Charlie Sterling was facing anyone but Mulligan right now, he would most likely have the win in his back pocket. But Mulligan, it beggars belief. This absolute beast, this atrocity from Cardiff, is truly something else, a superhuman in every sense. And Charlie Sterling now looking for that RKO once again. Oh, Mulligan put the brakes on, and Sterling found nothing but canvas, and now a humongous elbow dropped across the chest of Charlie Sterling, and God forbid what Mulligan is thinking right now as he drags Sterling to the middle of the ring. And dear God almighty, 6'7", looks like it's about to ascend to the top rope. And tell you what, if Mulligan can hit someone off the top rope, I don't think even Charlie Sterling is going to be able to withstand that. Charlie Sterling maybe recognises that, catches him with an enziguri. Sterling now looking to ascend to the top rope. Very precarious position to be in, with the 6'7" Mulligan seated on the top rope himself, and I think he's looking for a superplex. My God, he is. He's going to try and superplex him, and he does! My God, a superhuman feat of strength as Charlie Sterling sends Mulligan crashing to the floor. And, well, if it really is true that the bigger they are, the harder they fall, then that is the hardest fall that Mulligan's probably taken in his career so far. And this crowd looking to bring Charlie Sterling back into this matchup. Sterling and Mulligan head to head, and I think Mulligan a lot worse for wear after crashing to the floor. And now both men looking to trade off with strikes, and you can just hear the sheer amount of ferocity, especially from Mulligan with that giant haymaker. And I'm impressed that Charlie Sterling is able to absorb these punishing shots and looking to maybe go low and try and chop down the tree, working on the knee. That's very, very smart. Ever the tactician is Charlie Sterling, looking to tee off on Mulligan, and now looking to get him up for a suplex. That really will be an astonishing feat. I mean, we've already seen a superplex off the top rope, but he had a little bit of leverage there, and now Mulligan once again able to escape and just, wow, he's looking for the most gnarliest. Oh my God, another super kick as Mulligan was looking for a short arm clothesline, but Charlie Sterling finally looking to build. Is he going to take up the big man? Complete deadlift scenario. Well, Mulligan puts the brakes on once again. Understandably so, an extremely difficult thing for him to do it. Oh, very smart. Charlie Sterling was able to escape that big boot. Certainly doesn't want to taste that again. Could have spelled disaster for Sterling. And now sweeps the leg out. Beautiful technique here, and maybe trying something a little bit different as the figure 4 leg lock is applied. Extremely intelligent wrestling, high mental acumen from Charlie Sterling, who has applied a figure 4 leg lock in the middle of the ring to the monster Mulligan. And Charlie Sterling roaring at Mulligan, demanding that he tap out, and this has to be extremely smart offense. He was trying to wear down the knee. He's now wearing down both of the legs, but Mulligan, such is the wingspan of this man, was able to reach the bottom rope and create a break. And once again, you got to think, maybe if Charlie Sterling is facing a more average size man, or even someone of his size, then he probably would have this match put away by now. Looking for the cutter once again. Mulligan with the Eye of the Storm counters that, and that could very well be that as referee Drew Robertson counts it. Oh my God, Charlie Sterling at 2.9 gets his shoulder off the canvas. Well, the cries of "you can't beat him" ring out towards Mulligan. I'm not sure how wise that is for the Cardiff faithful to be egging on what is effectively one of their own in Mulligan, believe it or not. Not that he's popular here, and especially against Charlie Sterling, who's able to counter a chokeslam, and Sterling with a massive cutter out of absolutely nowhere. That's the finish. That's what he wanted. And Mulligan is still able to get his shoulder off the canvas. I've seen Charlie Sterling beat hundreds of men with that cutter flush. It normally only takes one, and Mulligan took one flush and still kicked out. That's how powerful, that's how devastating this man is. Charlie Sterling must be racking his brains. What is it going to take to bring this big man crashing down for good? And Mulligan able to put the brakes on once again. I think Sterling is looking to go back to the well. Gets caught with a splash in the corner. Mulligan now sends Charlie Sterling thundering across the ring and catches him again with a violent splash in the corner, using all of his body weight. Oh my God, Mulligan, I think, is looking to choke slam Charlie Sterling off the top, and Sterling recognises with every frantic motion that he needs to escape, and Sterling on the second rope as Mulligan, oh my God, avalanche RKO off the second rope to Mulligan, and that is enough to fell the giant. My God, a frenetic, frantic, ferocious matchup. But Charlie Sterling somehow took it to another gear. He was able to find a 6th and 7th gear, and finally, off the second rope with the avalanche RKO, was able to defeat the 6'7" Leviathan Mulligan. A astonishing effort by this big man. But how about Charlie Sterling in his debut, able to knock off Mulligan and make one hell of a statement here in Cardiff for Brick King Pro. Mulligan will rue the day that he ran into the juggernaut of professional wrestling that is Charlie Sterling. You can see Charlie Sterling, it took every last ounce of energy to dispatch Mulligan. Charlie Sterling knows he was in a truly astonishing fight, but when it's all said and done, it's one in the dove column for Charlie Sterling.